Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are going to crack a huge piece of the PMI CPMI exam. We're talking about the one task that can literally make or break an AI project, way before anyone even thinks about writing a single line of code. Let's get right into it.
So let me ask you a question, one that gets so many real-world teams into trouble. Imagine this. You've built a model, its accuracy is off the charts, the data science team is popping champagne, and yet the project gets labeled a complete and total failure. How does that even happen?
Simple. They solved the wrong business problem. This right here is the #1 reason AI projects go down in flames. And it's exactly why PMI is going to test you on it hard. Look, if your project doesn't have a crystal clear, agreed upon business goal, all that amazing tech you built is basically worthless. Okay, so how do we make sure we don't fall into that trap? We start by finding what I like to call the project's true north. This first group of tasks is all about locking in that guiding direction before the tech talk even starts. It's about making sure everyone is paddling in the exact same direction. So, what is it officially? Well, the Determined Business Objectives task group really does 3 things. First, you nail down the actual business problem. Second, you figure out how you're going to measure a win. And third, you decide if this whole thing is even worth doing. It's that simple. Problem, measurement, and justification. And you can see right here where this all fits in. We're at the very, very beginning of the CPMAI life cycle, smack in the middle of phase 1, business understanding. This is not some box-checking exercise you do later. No, this is the absolute foundation of the entire project. And if you get this foundation wrong, the whole structure you build on top of it is just gonna crumble. And that brings us to what I call the must-know framework. Seriously, you have to know this. Just think of it as the 3 basic questions your project has to answer to even have a chance. What are we actually trying to solve? How will we know we've solved it? And why are we even bothering to do this? So this framework breaks down into 3 tasks that have to happen in order. First up is determine business objectives. That's the what. You've got to state the problem in plain business English. Next is determine business success criteria. That's the how much. This is where you define success in real, measurable numbers. And finally, you do the cost-benefit analysis. That's the why bother. This is the part that proves the project actually makes financial sense. So what do you need to even get started? Well, you don't start with a cool algorithm. No, you start with stakeholder pain points, with actual business goals. And, this is critical, you bring in trustworthy AI constraints like explainability right from day 1. Your job is to take all of that and boil it down to one single agreed-upon business problem. Just one. And what comes out the other side? These right here are the artifacts the exam is going to ask you about. You walk away from this phase with 4 critical documents: a formal business objective statement, a stable baseline so you know where you started, your measurable business success criteria, and that all-important cost-benefit analysis, which is what you'll use to make the final go, no-go decision. Okay, let's talk about a really important concept, defining what good enough really means. And here's a hint, it's not about being perfect. It's about turning those high-level goals into cold, hard, documented proof of success. You see, from a PMI standpoint, good enough is very specific. It has nothing to do with a model that's 99.9% accurate. It simply means the business value you create is more than what the project cost. That's it. It's a business finish line, not a technical one. And here is the secret link you absolutely have to know. Your cost-benefit analysis. That tells you the financial break-even point. And that number, that's what sets the absolute minimum bar, the floor, for your business key performance indicators, or what PMI calls the acceptable KPI performance values. If your AI solution can't even get you over that financial bar, the project is a no-go. So how do you prove you hit that bar? You use the artifacts you made way back in phase I. The business objective, the success criteria, and the cost-benefit analysis. And these documents don't just get filed away. Oh no, they show up again, way down the line, in phase 5, where the model's actual results are formally checked against the promises you made right at the start. Okay team, listen up. This section can seriously be the difference between a pass and a fail on your exam. These are the most common traps people fall for on this topic. Let's walk through them so you can just sidestep them. Trap number 1 is, without a doubt, the most common mistake. People confuse the solution with the objective.
If you see an exam answer that describes a piece of technology, like implement a deep learning classifier, it's wrong. The right answer will always describe a business outcome, like reduce customer support ticket volume by 30%. Remember, we're focused on the what, not the how. And trap number 2 is just as sneaky, mixing up technical metrics with business criteria. Achieve 95% model accuracy. Well, that's great for the model, but it's not a business success metric. A business metric is always about business value, dollars saved, hours cut, customers gained. Reduce fraud losses by 5M annually. Now that is a business outcome. And definitely keep an eye out for these other classics. As the PM, it's your job to force a decision on a single primary objective, not to create a wish list. You also have to fight against vague goals like improve efficiency. And please, whatever you do, never, ever start collecting data before that business objective is locked down and signed off. That is a perfect recipe for disaster. All right, enough theory. You've got the concepts down. Now it's time for the rubber to meet the road. Let's run through a few exam-style questions to really make this stick. Okay, first one. The warehouse manager wants a fancy predictive AI model. The head of IT wants a real-time dashboard. Notice they're both talking about solutions, and they're not the same. You're the PM. What is your very next best move? The correct answer is facilitate a decision on a single primary business outcome. Your job is not to write down both ideas or start a technical bake-off. Nope. Your job is to pull them back and ask, what's the real business problem we're trying to solve here? Are we trying to cut down on lost sales, or are we trying to lower the cost of holding too much inventory? Get them to agree on that first. All right, question 2. The team gets together and they all agree on the objective, reduce manufacturing defects. Sounds great, right? But then, a few weeks later, people are arguing. One stakeholder thought it meant fewer products being thrown in the scrap heap. Another thought it meant getting fewer angry calls from customers. So, where did things go wrong? Which task was a failure? The problem goes all the way back to the very first task: determine business objectives. The objective itself, reduce manufacturing defects, was just too vague. A well-written objective has to be so clear that you can easily turn it into measurable success criteria that everyone agrees on. The fact that they're arguing later proves that the initial objective just wasn't good enough. Okay, let's bring it all home with some simple rules you can just stick in your back pocket for exam day. Think of these as little memory hooks to help you pick the right answer when you're under the gun. Burn these if-then rules into your brain. Rule 1. If an answer choice talks about a specific technology, then it's a solution, not an objective. Eliminate it. 2. If you see stakeholders arguing about the goal, then your next move is always to facilitate a decision. And 3, if you see technical model stats like precision or recall, then you know for a fact they are not business success criteria. Look, if you walk away with nothing else, please remember these 3 things. 1, you were there to define the business outcome, not the cool tech solution. 2, success is measured in business terms. We're talking dollars, hours, market share, not in model metrics. And 3, your very first job as a PM is to force a decision on a single, primary, measurable business objective. If you get that right, you've not only set up a successful project, you're well on your way to passing this exam.